I just found out that panettone is actually a Christmas dessert. And for Easter, Italians make columba. But I'm from Moldova, and our traditional Easter bread, kozonak, looks a lot like this. So in our house, we are eating panettone for Easter. It is so soft and full of chocolate. Let me show you exactly how I made it, step by step. Everything began in the morning with the starter dough. I mixed my water, yeast, and flour. Here is my favorite life hack. I covered the bowl with a plastic wrap, poked some holes with a toothpick, and put it in my turn-off oven. I placed a bowl with boiling water right next to it to create a perfect warm, humid environment. The recipe said it needs hours to rise, but with this trick it was ready in half the time. Rule number 1 for the next step. Always take your egg and butter out of the fridge early. They need to be room temperature. And rule number 2, always sift your flour to enrich it with oxygen. I used strong unbleached Canadian flour for this. To make the first dough, I mixed my active starter with the egg yolks, water, sugar, and flour on a low speed. Once that came together, I kept the mixer running low and slowly added the room temperature butter, piece by piece. You actually have to mix this for quite a while, so just be patient. You want the dough to become super elastic and completely pull away from the side of the bowl. That's exactly how you know it's ready. I'll leave all the exact measurements and mixing time in the description. Because I made double batch, I split the dough in 2 big bowls. The recipe says to let it proof up to 12 hours. I was not going to wake up at 2 in the morning to bake, so I covered the bowls and put them in my garage. It was the perfect temperature to slow down the rising process, so I could just sleep and finish in the morning. The next morning, I put the proofed dough back in the mixer. I added more flour, sugar, salt, and egg yolks. This was the exact moment I was supposed to add the vanilla, and I completely forgot. Well, it happens. Then I added my butter, fresh orange zest, and a lot of chocolate chips. I mixed it on low speed again until the dough beautifully pulled away from the bowl, just like before. Once the dough was ready, I divided it into exactly 8 equal pieces and put them into my pepper molds. When you put the dough in, it looks like it's not enough. It only fills about a third of the mold. But don't worry, trust the process. It needs that empty room to grow. I put them back in my oven sauna with hot water to rise again. After 6 hours, the dough grew beautifully to the top of the molds. Here is a quick tip about the traditional Italian glaze. You can make it thick or thin. I choose to make mine thick, so I used a piping bag to put it right on the top. But if you don't have a piping bag, you can easily make it a bit more liquid and just spread it on. I'll leave the recipe for it in the description too. Next, I sprinkled some fresh chopped almonds on top for a nice crunch and put them into the oven, preheated to 340 degrees Fahrenheit. Here is a great baking tip. After 30 minutes, make sure to rotate them so they don't burn on one side. If you notice the top getting too brown, just cover them with some aluminum foil. Then let them bake for about 45 minutes more. To be completely sure they are ready, I used a thermometer. When the very center of the panettone hits 200 degrees Fahrenheit, it is perfectly done. And here is the result. One more thing. Please let it rest on the counter for at least an hour to cool down completely. Trust me, it is worth the wait. As you can see, it is so fluffy, and honestly, forgetting the vanilla didn't ruin a thing. If you want to make this at home, all the exact details are in the description below. Let me know in the comments if you will try this recipe. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.